Good morning, everyone, and I just wanted to say I still miss you. I wish I could see you. This is killing me teaching from afar. So I'm going to try and do a Zoom lesson, or not lesson, but a Zoom tutorial at about 3 o'clock today. So I'll be sending out a notification. So keep your eye out for the Aries communication. So we are going to finish off the math analysis 7-6 section. So we went from knowing the P and the phi to getting the standard form. This time we want to go from standard form to the normal form and finding that P and that phi. So for this lesson, you are going to need your calculator, so you want to make sure that you have that out. All right. So let's just do a quick review. And again, if I go too fast at any point in time, feel free to hit pause, but I want to make sure that I hit it under the 15-minute mark. So we've learned 3 forms of the equation in the past. So one was standard form. And again, the 2 things to keep attention to are the fact that A, B, and C cannot be fractions or decimals. They can be radicals, but not fractions or decimals. And the fact that x's coefficient has to be greater than or equal to 0. So you don't want a negative hanging off the edge in standard form. Slope-intercept form is y is equal to mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. And then point slope form means that if you know the slope and you know a point that I gave you, then you can go straight into finding the equation of the line. And then yesterday we learned about the normal form of a line. So to be normal to something means that you're perpendicular. So if you notice, this green line is perpendicular to the blue line that we're trying to find the equation of. And so the normal segment starts at the origin and it's perpendicular to the blue line. P represents the length of that normal, or the length of that hypotenuse in that picture. And then phi is the angle that P forms with the positive x-axis. So those are 2 important things to remember about that. And so the normal form of a line was x cosine phi plus y sine phi minus P is equal to 0. So something to remember, phi will be constant for that line, and P will be constant for that line because the normal isn't going to change. Also, P, because it's a length, it's never going to be a negative, so it's always going to be minus P in that equation. All right, so this time we're going to go from standard form to normal form. So if we start with AX plus BY is equal to C, and if you're taking notes, this would be where I would start. What you're going to do to get to normal form, and I know this looks crazy, is notice the numerator is still ax plus by plus c equal to 0. And you're going to divide everything through by plus or minus the square root of a squared plus b squared. So the plus or minus is because it depends on this c value. So remember, in normal form, you always have to have a minus here. And so whatever sign in the denominator makes that part a minus is the sign that you're going to go with. So let's do an example to talk about how that happens. Switch screens here. Get that into focus. All right, so we're going to write we're going to write each equation in normal form and then find the length of the normal and the measure of the angle that it makes with the positive x-axis. So right here, if you notice, A is equal to 3, B is equal to negative 2, and C is equal to negative 1. And then again, just a reminder, if I'm going too fast, just pause, write down what you need to write down, and then press play again. All right, so we're going to do plus or minus the square root of a squared plus b squared. And if you notice, because I'm going to be squaring, it doesn't really matter that b was negative, because when I square it, it's going to end up being positive. And so we want to make sure that this sign is negative, so I need to divide that negative by a positive to make sure that that last constant is minus. Okay? So when we finish this, we end up with 9 plus 4, so it's going to be positive the square root of 13. So like the directions said, we're going to take each of these values and divide it by a positive square root of 13. Okay, and if we simplify that, remember you can multiply this by root 13 over root 13. You end up with 3 root 13 over 13 times x minus 2 root 13 over 13 times y minus root 13 over 13 is equal to 0. So this is called the normal form of that line. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is figure out what is our phi value and what is our p value. So knowing what we know that it's x cosine of phi plus y sine of phi minus p is equal to 0. So that means that the cosine of phi is equal to 3 root 13 over 13, that the sine of phi is equal to negative 2 root 13 over 13, and that p is equal to the opposite of this number because it's minus p, so that means this on its own is p. So remember, p always has to be positive. So we actually have the length of the normal right here. So we found the normal form and we found the p-value. So now we want to find the phi value. So what we need to do is figure out what quadrant are we in. So notice my cosine is positive, but my sine is negative. So that's saying, where is my x value going to be positive, but my y value is going to be negative? So remember, here cosine of theta is positive. So we only have these two to choose from since cosine is positive. And then we want sine to be negative. So this is where sine of theta is negative, and this is where sine of theta is negative. So do you see where cosine is positive and sine is negative is going to be in quadrant 4. So then our next question is, who is defined in quadrant 4? So let's remember back. We have cosine of theta, or phi, is defined in quadrants 1 and 2. And then sine of theta, or phi, is defined in quadrants 1 and 4. And so do you see that in order to find the phi value, I have to use the function where it's defined. So since we're in quadrant 4, we're going to have to use the sine of phi. We can't use the cosine of phi. So we're going to say that phi is equal to the inverse sine of, and then don't forget that negative, so we get negative 2 root 13 over 13. So we're going to type that into our calculator. So I apologize for taking a moment to do this. So I've got the inverse sine of negative 2 times the square root of 13, close that out, divided by 13 gives me negative 33.7 degrees. And so it doesn't say whether I need to do it in degrees or radians, so I'm going to go ahead and say negative 33.7 degrees. Had it said in radians, you could always multiply this by pi over 180 and then use your pi button. So you could say times the pi button divided by 180, and you could have said that it's negative 5.9 radians. I'm sorry, negative 0.59 radians. But if it doesn't specify, it is okay to leave it in terms of degrees. All right, so let's try one more. And again, if I'm going too fast, go ahead and pause it. So at this point, now that you've seen an example, I would love it if you could pause this and try this one on your own. But if you're not ready for that, then you can go ahead and watch the video. And so, remember, we've got A is equal to 2, we have B is equal to 1, and we have C is equal to 1. And then we're going to do the square root of A squared plus B squared. So that's 2 squared plus 1 squared. And then, remember, that was plus or minus. So then, this sign needs to be negative when we're done. So do we see that a positive divided by a negative is going to give me that negative value, because the definition of normal form says we have to have minus p. All right, so if we figure this out, this is going to be negative square root of 4 plus 1 gives me 5. So I have to divide through by negative root 5. So when I do that, I get negative 2 root 5 over 5 times x minus root 5 over 5 times y minus root 5 over 5 is equal to 0. So that is the normal form of line, where this is minus. That is the definition of where who has to be negative. All right. So then the next thing again we need to do is find the length of the normal and the measure of phi. So that means that we have the cosine of phi is equal to negative 2 root 5 over 5. We have the sine of phi is equal to negative root 5 over 5. And p is equal to the absolute value of this, which is going to be the square root of 5 over 5. So this represents the length of the normal. So now we have the normal form and the length of the normal. We're looking for the measure of phi. So we've got to figure out what quadrant we're in. So here this says cosine of theta is negative. So cosine of theta is negative in quadrants 2 and 3. And here sine of phi is also negative, and sine is negative in quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. So it's quadrant 3 that has both of them negative. Now, we said cosine of phi is going to be defined in quadrants 1 and 2. And we said sine of phi is going to be defined in quadrants 1 and 4. And now we have a problem because nobody is defined in quadrant 3. So what we're going to have to do is figure out what would be their quadrant 1 answer, so that when I add 180 degrees to it, I would then end up in quadrant 3. So in that case, in quadrant 1, everybody's defined. So notice everybody's defined here in quadrant 1. So I can figure out the quadrant 1 answer from either one of them and then add 180 to make it a quadrant 3 answer. So I'm going to go ahead and use cosine of phi. So we're going to say the cosine of phi is now equal to positive 2 root 5 over 5. So it's positive because I'm looking for the quadrant 1 answer. And so then when I'm done, my quadrant 1 answer is going to be the inverse cosine of 2 root 5 over 5. But remember, that's going to be a quadrant 1 answer. So to make it a quadrant 3 answer, we're going to add 180 to that. So if we go ahead and do the inverse cosine of 2 times the square root of 5, close that out, divided by 5, close that out, and then add in 180, that's going to give us 207, or 206.5 either way. And then just to double check, that is between 180 and 270, so that did give me a quadrant 3 answer. So anytime it's quadrant 3, you're going to use the cosine or the sine of the absolute value, and then once you figure out that angle measure, you're going to add 180 to put it in quadrant 3. Okay? So I will post what the bookwork is in the Google Classroom, and I'm going to be Zooming at 3 o'clock. So hope you have a beautiful day.